Dear diarrhea, diarrhea full of shit. Just play along, me, myself, and I, and no one else. Hey, yo, I'm so legit. Going to my nephew's hockey game tomorrow. We're going to eat lunch afterwards. It's about an hour away. That's about my limit, which is pretty much going to be every game, because that's where all the ice arenas are at, or in the Denver metro area. But it's Saturday, so the traffic won't be as bad. And I checked all the sports games. Let's see, it's football, Avalanche, and Nuggets season. It's not baseball season. But I checked all that, and they don't. I think the Nuggets have a game tomorrow night. The Avs have a game whenever. I forget. The Broncos have a game, I forget. But basically, tomorrow, when I'm going to be driving, there's not going to be any other riffraff that I have to deal with as far as sports. Now, I guess I neglected to Google, are there any events? I should probably Google, type in, any large events, Denver Metro 1123, and just see what pops up. Because they might have something going on. I mean, it's winter, right? So I think Elitch Gardens is closed. You never know. They might have some sort of weird festival or fair. Is there the circus in town, Cirque du Soleil, or something like that? If it's just the circus, it probably won't be set up, because there's different. Circuses are fairly small, so those are going to be set up kind of around the. You're not going to see a circus in the heart of Denver. You will see Cirque du Soleil, because that's like its own worldwide traveling thing. But so I'll have to type that in just. Because if I want to take the C470, now I've never taken it in a car, and I don't know what it is. Price wise, it's longer, but it might be worth it. Because just hopping on that I-25 bullshit. I-25 is bad. Pretty much the entire north and south length of Colorado, pretty much. For those of you who aren't familiar with Colorado, which would be everybody except for possibly Cocinaboo, there's just no let up. You know what I mean? It's like you might drive for 10 miles and then you'll encounter a bottleneck where traffic slows down to 45 to 25 miles an hour. And it totally depends on the day and traffic and all that stuff. I mean, you could be rolling along at 5 miles an hour. But there's just so many fucking faggot pieces of shit, out there, raising their families and going out to eat and, just life, love, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, It's hard to avoid these pieces of shit if you need to get somewhere, And pretty much there's really no shortcut. Because if you want to take the frontage road, you still got stoplights. And there's other people who are going to be hip to that, And especially like in a truck, which I won't be. I'll be in my personal vehicle. But really, it's almost kind of shorter, to just bucket and just sit in traffic, Because even though you're going slower, it depends. It depends, And I don't know how these phones track this stuff, because I just checked it right now. It's like 7 o'clock, I think, something like that. 7:30, shit, I don't know. And still, the location that I'm going, it's pretty much the same distance. You could go around this way or go around that way. One way is like 20 miles longer. The other way is like 10 miles longer in distance, but it's the same fucking time. So obviously you're wasting fuel, wear and tear on your tires, putting miles on your engine, okay? You're them 10 miles, your piston's going, overthink things much? Yes, you only get so many out of a piston before you got to rebuild the engine. So it's not just the obvious shit like fuel and tires, it's everything. It's the heart of the vehicle. Once you got to replace the engine because there's too many, it might not be worth it. So if you make it a habit to, quote unquote, if it's the same damn time, but maybe you just don't want to deal with the stop and go, which again, getting your vehicle up to just regular, whatever you run it at, 65, most people aren't. I don't, at work, my truck's governed at 65, but if I'm in my personal vehicle, yeah, speed limit 75, I'm doing 75.5 miles an hour. I'm that guy. But I go, no, don't misunderstand that. I don't speed or drive aggressive, but I do try and go with the flow, because like I said, no matter how fast you're going, what your speed is, you're always, nobody's going your speed. You're going to have to pass people, and there's going to be people wanting to pass you. So driving in Colorado is something that actually requires a fair amount of, paying attention. But, I like to make it, as effortless and as smooth as I can. Like I'll tap the brakes so people behind me know what's going on as a courtesy, but plus it'll kind of help them keep, it is what it is. I have my way of driving because I drive a lot, right? I drive a truck. So it's especially, because I can't, my truck's governed. I can't zig and zag and accelerate, Like in my car, I actually drive, I wouldn't say aggressive, but like assertive. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm making a left-hand turn, and there's 2 lanes of traffic going either direction, and maybe there's a middle lane, the center lane where you can turn, but you need to be mindful of, somebody who's going to dive in there, the last minute, and you just got to keep track of everything. Now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but because I'm a driver, who drives on the road all the time, yeah, I'm better than you, like a lot better, because I want to make it as easy as I can on me, but it's actually, when I'm driving in my car, it's like I'm driving a go-kart, It's like I'm taking that spot right there, And you have to be careful so people don't, panic and shit, but yeah, if I, if I'm in my car, I'm like, oh, oh, we got traffic? Ain't no big deal. It might be, but, in a truck, it's like shit, And I've had to, like, just block off and take it half at a time, and just, you got to do what you got to do in a truck, You got to button hook shit. And you got to own that intersection. And keep in mind that people have no fucking idea what you're doing. Your blinker don't mean shit. And even how you're setting up your vehicle, they have the mentality of, oh, I'll just go around. This truck's going to be a minute. He's going to go around this corner slow, or whatever. So, and I get it, because when I'm driving in my car, I have that same urge. I drive a truck. This guy's going to be a minute. I even take it a step further, It's like, this guy's probably a fucking idiot, He probably lost. I'll just go around this dude. So, you know what I mean? So I got a foot in both camps. Now, 95% of the driving that I do is in a truck, or at least was, but yeah, I get it. No, you don't want to be behind me, at that exit. That's why you waited till the last minute and zipped in front of me. Because you don't want to be behind my big lumbering ass, because the vehicle physically accelerates slower, and then you might be stuck behind me, down this next road. Plus, I have to wait, In a car, you just go up there, Stop. Okay. Hit the gas. Go. Go, 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 go. Yeah, 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 go. Marbles rolling downhill. Now, I'm not condoning that behavior. But as Lurch used to say back in the day, I understand. But I don't take it to the level that most people do. So, but you just said, no, that's not what I just said. So that's what you heard because you have a limited mind. But you're in good company, quote unquote, you piece of shit. Most people are exactly like you. But anyway, yeah, a few days ago I left the window open in the bathroom off of the main bedroom. It's freezing in there when I went in there in the morning. I thought that might be something I'll have to do. I mean, I'm giving the game away now. But that'd be a good joke to play on your little honeyboo in the morning, if you're in the dating phase. Because if you're dating, you're still going to be working, woman. You don't get to stay home until you have the first kid. Then you're going to be a stay-at-home mommy. It's not, I'm telling you, I'm not suggesting. We're going to have at least 2 kids because every kid needs a sibling to fight with and argue with and disagree with 24/7, live in. You don't get to, rule the roost as a single child. Single children grow up to be pains in the fucking ass. But then it depends on the parenting as well. But and I don't know if you want to homeschool. Obviously, that'll take up a lot of your time. But if you're going to stay home as the king of the castle, the almighty King Nothing, when I come home from work, a hard day at the salt mine with my steel lunchbox and my shit kicker boots, work boots, not cowboy boots, I expect a clean house and a warm meal. Doesn't have to be, immaculate. It just needs to, be organized, which can be difficult with kids. But like I said, you do your shit, but then that's part of raising a functioning human being. You play, and then when you're done playing, if you're done playing temporarily, but you're gonna come back to it, at least move the shit, out of the hallways and walkways and stuff. Press it up, move it up against the wall or put it in a pile somewhere if you're going to come back to it. At the end of the day, you put that shit away. Maybe you've got a closet, maybe it's in their room, and that goes for their room. Their room isn't just this space that's away from the prying eyes of parents. They have to keep their room clean. Same shit. Don't have to put it, you can keep it out in your room, but at the end of the day, you put that shit away. And you don't just shove it in your closet and shut the door. You put it back in its container, put it on the shelf, whatever. If you've got toys, in your closet. It just depends. Because you don't want to condone kids just holing up in their rooms either. Especially these days. That toy being, a video game or some shit. You don't get a computer in your room. The computer is in the living room, centrally located. So you might want to set that up with your toys as well, right? Don't get to keep toys in your room. You keep clothes and shit, in your room because you don't want your kids spending much time in their room. They can go in there, not to sound like a tyrant here or anything, but I'm just thinking out loud here. But, that's where they sleep, obviously. That's like their, place where they want to be alone, and just relax. That is a place to do homework. Unless the homework is, going to need to be done on the computer. And these days, maybe they got a laptop or something. See, back in my day, we wrote with pencils. But these days, elementary kids might actually have little laptops. Now, that causes a fucking problem because now they have access to the internet. And now they're fucking around playing video games and you can set up, I'm sure they have just basic computers that don't have that shit. And when they become a certain age, you know what I mean, then it's like, okay, you can have, whatever, right? Whatever the modern times are, you know what I mean? And you can have your blocks and this, that, and the other. And there's the sexual shit, and you need to have the talk, at puberty, right? Because that like affects people, they start watching, porn and shit, because it's modern times, you know what I mean? So you need to just keep in touch with that, And I'm pretty like liberal, for lack of a better word, when it comes to that stuff. It's like, look, hey, this is the deal. These are the times. I mean, as soon as your son or daughter is able to have kids or get someone pregnant, so basically, 12 years old or 13, you want to catch them before they get knocked up and have the talk. Now, I'm getting up here on time, and I don't want to go down this fucking rabbit trail because, I mean, shit. But, as a parent, that's your job, is to produce, to train up a child in the way they should go. It's a Bible verse. I don't know what's above or below it or around it, but I know that's a Bible verse. So that's what you're doing. And you also have to work, make money, pay the bills, handle any situations that come up, schedule shit, for your kids and whatnot, especially when they're younger, and train them up so that they're smart and functional, and just, I'm going to leave it at that, but these things matter, when you were a kid in your like elementary years, 5, 6, 7 years old, that shit matters. Did you have to put your toys away? Where did you keep your toys? Were you allowed to just hang out in your room? Did you come home from school and play with your, like even back in my day, did you, your Matchbox cars and your G.I. Joes? And, you had to do homework and stuff, but at least in my day as a kid, you could probably crank that out, within an hour and a half. You need to be present and accounted for. That's really important. Don't let your kids just disappear and be left to their own fucking devices. I'm not saying, hey, where are you going? I'm going to my room. The hell you are. Don't be like that. But, if it becomes evident that your kid, regardless of what their age is spending 4 hours, they come home from school, just go to their room, emerge for dinner, and then go back to the room. That's a problem. They're going to grow up and do some stupid shit. And don't, like I said, sometimes you might have to be kind of a jerk. You might have to be a real jerk. I've talked about this before in audio presentations. As Papa Bear, you're the firm one. You're the discipline and the wisdom and all that shit. Mama Bear is the hugs and cookies and shit like that. But she's also got her stuff to do. She's not just a pushover. But anyway, it's a whole thing. It's a constant thing, and it depends on how old they are and what their personality is. Obviously, they're going to come equipped from genetics from you and Mama Bear. And you're the parents, remember. So you're just two people who fell in love with each other, but you're two separate people. But to your kids, you're gods. You can do no wrong. You know everything. You're the comfort, you're the safety, you're the provision, you're everything. So keep that in mind. And because they didn't ask to be brought into this world, you did. You brought them into this world. But it's just your job to raise, a functioning adult. They don't have to grow up to be, Elon Musk version 2.0. They can grow up to be Joe Sixpack. As long as Joe Sixpack has the toolbox and the ability to stay, at least relatively happy, always pursuing, bettering himself, stay out of trouble, don't be a draw on society, you've won. He doesn't have to be the next Mr. Longhead or Joe Waller, Jay Waller, or any of them dudes. He can just be a cog in the machine. Not a fucking thing wrong with that. But, obviously, again, get them involved in sports and hobbies and shit like that, It just depends. It just totally depends. Each individual, like my nephews, for example, all three of them are completely different people, little kids, completely different personalities. Same things with my mom's Frenchies. Not to compare my nephews with dogs, but my mom happens to have three Frenchies. Completely different personalities. But they all kind of follow some set, behaviors as well. But anyway, but that would be a joke, or whatever. If my little honey boo, got up and went to the bathroom and was like, "Oh my God, it's freezing in here," because I left the window open. Sorry, babe, I must have left the window open. Anyway, but get the kid. That's where I went. Yeah, get the kids involved, in cooking and stuff. But like I said, you got to do everything right. So obviously, start them off not with the knives, and if they're going to use like blenders or food processors, you need to instill that in them. Unplug it when you're done, because they might see a little chunk of food, that's maybe stuck on the side, and they want to, grab it and move it back in the center and repress the button. Be mindful of that. These are things that most people wouldn't think of, but I do because I'm better than you. But yeah, little Susie Q, little Timmy, they got their little stool or whatever that you push the button. Okay. Now, if you need to, do not ever put your hand in here for any reason unless that plug is unplugged. If there's something that's not normal, you tell me. So, honey boo, Mommy, there's a chunk of carrot stuck on the side. Okay, what do? Unplug the cord, and then reach down there with a spatula, and move it to the middle, then plug the cord back in and push a button. And then I unplug the cord, take the thing off, and take the blade out or whatever, and take the spatula. You know what I mean? Some of this might be too much to expect. You know what I mean? Like if it's got one of them S blades, that whoosh. No, that's that's they're not going to grasp that. Wait until they're like 7 years old. A 4 or 5-year-old, mommy, with their little hands and stuff. Nah, ain't happening. Especially, they're on a stool. It could be just always keep in mind what's the worst that could happen. What's the worst that could happen? Because they got little hands and stuff, so that could be, they could, I mean, you know what I'm saying, dog? You got arteries and stuff in your wrists, okay? So veins are one thing, but you don't want to have to take your kid. This just got fucking weird quick. What are you talking about? Kids working with razors? Well, back in my day, we were expected to know how to work with razors by age 7. Okay? But anyway, but yeah, get them involved in that, chores and stuff. So, but mind you, they're kids, so they're not going to be much help. But at least, that's part of like life training. You know what I mean? So I'm 24 minutes in. Basically, like I said, I'm going to write a book on how to be a parent. I'm going to write a book on how to be parents. I'm going to write a book on how to be a mommy. I'm going to write a book on how to be a daddy. Not that book. That's a separate book. But how are you doing, you broken little girl? Hey, Bundle Baby. Yeah. You're not so much broken, but a lot of your friends are. And they've been through some shit. Like what's her name? I checked her shit, Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And that'll never go away. That's something that she has to deal with, unfortunately. Like I said, she didn't ask for that, but some piece of shit human, decided to do that to her. And now she's got fucking head issues and possibly daddy issues, and who knows what her story is, you know. But now she's this sexy little thing, you know, plickety-plack, kind of got the goth thing going on, you know, kind of naughty, right? That naughtiness, there's like deeper rooted shit. So my real ones, you need to, you know, understand that and respond to that in a certain way. I'm not going to get into that. I'm 25 minutes in. But you think she's just this naughty freak. Turns out she's actually kind of broken. So she's her own individual, but you can help, you know, get her minds right, you know, build her up. So she still has all that freak shit and that goth shit, and she still likes to strip and all that shit. But just keep in mind, you know, that she's damaged goods. And that doesn't mean you can't handle it, player, baller. My real ones, fist bump. Leave a comment below. All my real ones. Ben and Brian, I am not talking to you, you fucking queers. But, yeah. So she can be a healthy freak instead of a pain in the ass damaged freak. You know, because you understand her better than she does. Because why wouldn't you? She's just a silly girl. Have a good day.